Jess, if you don't mind hitting the record button. Thank you for doing that, by the way.
Welcome.
So we're going to record this, and Jenny, I just want to really, really thank you because I know you're really busy, and I just tremendously appreciate you taking the time to do this out of everything you got going on. So you guys, Jenny is somebody I actually went to Jules training with, and I was thinking about this today. You won the Silver Stars at one point, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Jessica Pierce, who's soon to be my next Emerald, that's in the group here, she won Silver Stars too. So trip
awesome.
of a lifetime for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is.
So I told you, I shared this with you already, Jenny, but my team, I just got so much great feedback from that branding challenge you did. And you and I talked on the phone last week, and I think I said to you, all the stuff that you wish you knew when you first got into this, we spent so much time trying to figure it out. And if there's one thing I know for certain, I've realized that branding yourself in this is everything. I feel like it's monumental. It's like the foundation of putting yourself out there and being authentic and really just trying to set yourself apart from everybody else on Facebook who is selling stuff. So I thought that would be such an appropriate topic for you to talk about tonight, and I'll turn it over to you, and you share whatever is on your heart with that, and then if anybody has any quick questions at the end, we'll take questions, and Jenny, you talk for as long as you like or as short as you like. Thank you so much.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you so much. Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you for having me. You guys, y'all are so lucky. Let me tell you, not everyone has a great leader like you guys do. I was really lucky in that I have an amazing sponsor, and I am so thankful for that every single day. And you guys should be thankful for that too. So, like Stephanie said, I met her at Jules training, and we really didn't even get to see each other much there or get to know each other. But since then we have, and I just love her. So I'm happy to come on here and share with you guys tonight so that y'all can kind of take some of my failures and learn from them. I'm really big on being very, very open with my team and telling them where I have messed up over the last couple years, because I feel like if you guys can learn from that, then it's all worth it, right? So I want to tell you that whenever I started, I had done 2 other network marketing companies. I had failed miserably with them. I made $6 with one and $0 with the other. I was horrible. I was that girl that was like, would post on Facebook one time, and if I did not get like 50 messages, I'd be like, oh gosh, this doesn't work. I'm out of here. This is no good. Nobody wants this. Nobody likes this. I was just, I told myself over and over, I'm a horrible salesperson. And honestly, I was. But before Plexus, I wasn't willing to get better. And whenever I started Plexus, I knew that I had to be willing to get better, right? And so when I started this, I want you guys to know I was really, really bad, right? I was that person that would post like the pink graphics with like, join my team, that were all, you could tell they had been used 150 times and you couldn't even really tell what they said. I would just share the heck out of them. I mean, I was really bad. But I copied and pasted like crazy. I just didn't understand what I was doing, but I knew that I had to get better at it. So I'm a very literal person. And so like I would write these 10-mile long posts with, all full sentences and very analytical, and no one ever read them, but I felt the need to analyze every sentence. And I just really wasn't myself in my posting. I would share other people's stuff and it didn't sound like me. And so I think that's one of the things that really held me back in the beginning. And people would say to me, and even my sponsor would say to me, you've got to be personal in your post. And I would say like, okay, I'm okay. Like I said, I lost 10 pounds. Like what else do you want me to do? Right. I didn't understand it. And so for a long time, I felt like I'm just not great at posting, right? I just need to share what everyone else is doing, copy and paste it, because I'm not good at that. And I watched people like Bridget Ryan, who is a friend of mine, and I knew that she had something special, right? I knew that there was something that she was doing that I wasn't doing. But in my head, I kept thinking, well, I'm not I don't travel the world, and I'm not in an RV, and I don't have 7 kids. Like, no one wants to no one wants to hear about me. Like, I'm just sitting at home working my business with my 1 kid. And I know that sounds so weird, but that's what I thought. And so I thought, I just can't be like her. I'm also really good friends with Megan Moore. She's great too about making her post super personal and building up all of this excitement, but I just didn't think that I had that. And so I decided last year, I thought, you know what, I've got to get better. I kept thinking if I could just get one of those people to teach me, then I could do this. But here's the deal, you guys. There's only so much that people can teach you. The rest of it, you just have to do on your own. You just have to figure it out, right? And that's the point that I was at. I had been taught so much. I had watched all the videos, but at some point you just have to step up and start doing it. And so I started asking myself some questions like, who am I? And y'all, that's a hard question for me to answer. And I think it's probably a hard question for a lot of people to answer. That's not something that's just super clear to me, right? My identity is all wrapped up in being a mom and being a wife and things that haven't worked and things that have worked and just all these things that I feel like have kind of happened to me, right? This isn't the life that I had planned whenever I was 16. It hasn't been picture perfect. And so I didn't really understand who I was. And so I started asking myself these questions. And then I realized that in itself, the fact that this isn't the life I had planned and that it still turned out to be amazing and there are so many things to be thankful for, that is the beauty of it. And that is the story. And so rather than thinking about all these things that I wasn't, I started thinking about all the things that I am, right? I am a mom and I feel like a pretty dang good one. I am a wife and I think a pretty dang good one. Some days my husband wouldn't agree with that, but we don't care about those days. I'm a horse girl, right? We rodeo and I used to be way better at it. And now I'm 30 and I'm not nearly as good at it anymore. And there's beauty in that. It used to be something that embarrassed me, but now I figured out that that's where the goodness comes in at, right? Because everyone has those things that they're embarrassed about or they feel like they should be better at, right? So I am a cook. I learned that from my mom. I am a family person. I'm an animal lover. I'm a budgeter. You guys, I'm a Dave Ramsey follower. I have done the cash envelopes. I've done the whole thing, right? I'm debt free. That's a big deal. That's a big deal to me. And so it's something that I share about now that I was really embarrassed to talk about before. And how weird is that? I'm from the South. That's a big deal. I live in Louisiana, and you guys, I don't know if y'all know anyone that lives in Louisiana, but I mean, there's a lot of pride down here, right? Everyone's so proud to be from Louisiana. So that's a part of me. I love things like juicing, but I don't love to work out. So that's a part of me. And I started taking all these things that I thought at one point I had to be Bridget Ryan, or I had to be Megan Moore, or I had to be Rhonda Shaw, or I had to be like all these other people. And then I realized that that wasn't interesting, right? And that I couldn't pull that off, but I can pull off me. So the other thing is, I have always said that I'm not good with words. I'm not much of a talker. I'm that person that gets shy and embarrassed in a crowd and I pull back and I just don't say anything and people think that I'm rude. I'm not rude. I just am really awkward. But I had to learn. I tell you what, last year at Jules training, Tara Berger is a friend of mine and she was talking to me and she made this big post and it was all these things that I wanted to say. And I kind of was talking to her. I was like, how did you just come up with that? Like, we're riding on a bus from the meeting room to the hotel room. How did you just spit that out? And I realized that that was just her strength and it wasn't my strength. And it was something that I had to get better at. So I started working on my words and how to really express myself. And you guys, you think that just comes naturally? For some people, it doesn't. It did not just come naturally for me. This is something that I have to work on every single day. So I learned that being vulnerable and showing people the messy stuff and the things that you're not good at and being able to laugh at yourself, that's the good stuff. That's where you get people's attention. And that's where you get people's you get all of, like, you get their feelings and you get their emotions in that, right? Because that's where they can connect to you and that's where they can relate to you. If you can get someone to connect to you, then you can get them to buy from you. Okay. And so that's where people fall in love with you, is whenever you're not trying to be this picture and you're not trying to sell something all the time, you just start being you. Okay. So I want you to think about like, the Kardashians. Okay. I watch the Kardashians. My husband says it's trash and he gets so mad at me for watching it, but I love them. But here's why I love them. It's not because I love everything they do, right? Because they do a lot of things that I don't agree with. But I love them and I watch their show because they're just so open, right? They just say whatever. They're very much themselves, okay? And so that is what is attracted to them, okay? That's why people are attracted to them. Think about the Real Housewives. Same thing. I don't agree with everything those Real Housewives do, but when it comes on, I'm not turning it off. I'm going to watch it. It's because it's this big hot mess train wreck. And you get all these opinions out there and you can't help but watch that, right? So I'm not telling you to be a hot mess, but I am telling you to be real, right? And so you got to think about that super funny friend that you have on Facebook. Like, they just put their life out there and everyone loves it. They're probably on your dream team list. Why is it that everyone loves them? It's because they're just themselves, right? I have a friend, bless her. I mean, she's just crazy as it comes, but everyone loves her. And so I watch her post because it gives me inspiration. Okay. So you've got to learn to look for the opportunities in your life. Okay. If you tell yourself all the time, there's nothing special about my life, I'm just a stay-at-home mom, or I'm just this, or I'm just that, then you're not going to find anything special. But I promise you, promise, if you start looking for opportunities, you're going to find them. Okay. So let's say you're outside with your kid, and you guys are just playing around or whatever. Okay. Immediately what comes to mind is several different posting ideas. And once you start to grasp this and use it in your daily life, you're going to be able to see the same things. Okay. So when I think about someone outside playing with their kids, here's what comes to mind: sunsets, picking flowers, jumping on the trampoline, mom sitting there playing with her kid, laughter, animals, trees, whatever. Okay. I can think of a post to go with every single one of those things that is super personal that you can pull Plexus into. And that's what I want everyone to focus on. Your post, they taught whenever I started, like, you should have a Plexus post and then you should have a personal post. I don't really agree with that. Okay. I think you should have all personal posts and Plexus should be sprinkled in there, right? Because Plexus is just a part of our life. So I don't want you to sell Plexus. I want you to sell you. Okay. And the way that you do that is just by being super open, super vulnerable. So I've got some things here. Let's say you're outside and there are like some pretty flowers. So you take a picture of the flowers. Okay. You can make this post and say, oh my gosh, don't you love springtime? It's so awesome, blah, blah, blah. So glad I don't have allergies anymore and I'm not sneezing like crazy, okay? So you just brought Plexus into a personal post, okay? Let's say you're walking on the beach. A lot of you guys are in Florida. So let's say you're walking on the beach, okay? You can talk about that. You can talk about being able to rest. You can talk about relaxation. And then you can talk about time freedom, okay? Or dreaming about your business or whatever. Okay. So you can pull that in. This is not a Plexus graphic. This is not a post about Plexus. This is a post about your life and what you are doing that day. And you're sprinkling Plexus on top of it. Okay. Let's say you're sitting on the porch swing. Have someone take a picture of you. Y'all, this is real weird because I think many times as women, like, no one takes pictures of us, right? We're the one taking the pictures. So I started attempting to get my husband to take my picture. It's so sad. I mean, bless him. He has no photography skills, which I don't either, but he really doesn't. So it's not the best pictures, but I try. And now I've even conned my daughter into getting some pictures of me. But get someone taking a picture of you while you're on the porch swing. Talk about relaxing talk about what it does for the mind, and then sprinkle in Mega X and how it's good for relaxation, for stress management, and for brain and heart health. Okay. Let's say you are in the floor playing with your dog. Have someone snap a picture of it. Okay. Then you can do an engagement or an interacting post out of that and say, like, you know, put a picture of you and your dog in the comments or whatever. People love that. People eat that up. Okay. And it's actually boosting people coming to your page, boosting the traffic on your page, but it doesn't look like a Plexus post, right? It doesn't look like a salesy post. Maybe you are giving your kid a piggyback ride. Okay. And then you can sprinkle in on that your health is worth it. And that if you're going to be a mom and you're going to take care of everyone else, then you got to take care of yourself first, right? Maybe you're in the kitchen, maybe there's a mess everywhere. So make a post about it. Have someone take a picture of you like cooking in the kitchen. There's stuff flying everywhere. The kids are a mess. And then talk about fitting it in, right? Talk about fitting your products in. Talk about fitting your business in. Okay. Maybe you're at the water park. I don't know if you guys saw this, but there was a post going around a while back about if someone threw you a life raft, would you take it? Right. And so whenever I went to the water park a couple weeks ago, I had been thinking about that post and I thought, oh my goodness, here's my opportunity. So I take a picture with the life raft. Okay. Now I haven't even used it yet, guys. I'm saving that for a day whenever I don't have anything else going on and I'm sitting at home in my PJs and there's nothing exciting to talk about. That's when I'll use that. It's okay to save it. It's okay to not post every single thing on the day of. Okay. Maybe you are just hanging out, laughing, having dinner with your friends, right? Have someone take a picture of it. It doesn't have to be all selfies. Okay. Maybe you are talking at a meeting. Okay. Maybe you're having a sip and see. Now, here's the thing. You can take any of these pictures and you can make a totally ordinary post out of it, right? You can say like, had so much fun at the sip and see tonight, you know, blah, blah, blah. And it can be very uninteresting. Or you can have someone take a picture of you standing up talking in front of everyone, and you can make a post about how one of your biggest fears used to be talking in front of people, how you didn't think you knew enough about this. You can tell that whole backstory and you can pull people in. And then all of a sudden that picture, it means a whole heck of a lot more than just some old Plexus meeting, right? So you've got to think about what these things look like to your audience. You've got to think about the fact that they have so many people that are sharing Plexus that you can't just be another one of those people, right? It has to be special. It has to be important, and it has to have value for them, okay? It also needs to be something that they can relate to. If you watch those people that are really, really great at posting, they tell a story in every post. And many times they'll take you back, right? So they might post a picture from 5 years ago and talk about what they felt like then. They didn't even have to say what they feel like now because everyone knows that, right? So they can talk about what they felt like then, or what their fears were then, or how they didn't know how they were going to make it, or that they were so worried. You know, I made a post the other day about 3-4 years ago, whenever I was using cash envelopes and I gave myself $100 a week to get groceries and I could not go over it. And I had to go put groceries back because I could not go over my $100 a week. You guys, I got multiple messages after that about the business. It had nothing to do with Plexus, but people know my financial situation now. And so taking them back to that, because remember, I wasn't open then. I didn't tell people I was doing that then. So I have to take people back to that time and say, hey, this is really how far I've come since then, you know? And so taking people back and telling that story and giving them those feelings and those emotions, that's what's going to get them to really think about it. And that's going to plant a seed and help them think about it in their own mind, right? Because maybe they're on $100 a week budget. Maybe they can't even process that because they're just trying to get through to next week to pay their electric bill, right? So you've got to give them something that they can latch onto. And if it is, if it's like Plexus Slim has XOS now, that's not connecting with them. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad thing to post because you do want to put that information out there and some people will latch onto that, but you've also got to have these other kind of posts in there because that's what people can relate to, right? People can relate to not having energy, to drooling on their desk like I did every day. People can relate to having cash envelopes, right? People can relate to my story, which was job loss. My husband was going to lose his job if we didn't relocate. So I needed to start Plexus. People can relate to that. So you got to talk about those things, right? Now, I will tell you this, when you start posting like this, it can take some time. And if you sit there and you overanalyze everything, you are going to spend 3 hours a day trying to make one Plexus post. And I have a bad habit of that. And so I have to make myself like, okay, this is what I want to accomplish with this post. This is what I want to accomplish with this picture. And you just got to write it and you got to go with it, post it and move on. Go do something else. The next day, do the same thing over again. Get a great picture, throw some emojis in there. Don't even worry about making it like perfectly grammatically correct. Don't even worry about whole sentences. Just throw some emojis, do some hashtags, make it look interesting, make it fun, and move on. Go to the next one, right? Because you don't want to spend all your time analyzing these posts, okay? Let's see. Okay, let's talk about giving value. Let's talk about teaching people things. This one is a scary one for me still because I still have that little voice inside that says, no one wants to hear anything from you. You can't teach anyone anything. You're not good enough for that, right? But we know, we've learned about mindset, so we know that we have to get past that. We know that we have to overcome that, right? And so here's what I'm here to tell you. Whenever we did the branding challenge, I had people on my team that were like, I can't teach anyone anything. And so from an outsider's view, though, it's really easy. So if you don't know what you can teach someone, ask someone. Say, hey, what would you like for me to teach you? Okay, because you're going to be surprised. It might be how to fix hair. One girl, I said, hey, you just got a puppy, didn't you? Talk to people about puppy training. Make it funny. If your dog's still not potty trained, then like talk about how not to potty train a dog. You know, like you can really spin it any way you want to. Maybe you can do a recipe. Maybe you can talk about like an easy mom workout. Whatever it is that you do every day or that is very much fits you and your brand and whatever those words are that describe you, talk about that. Teach someone about it. I promise you, more people are interested in that than you think. Again, this is another thing you can complicate to the end of the day, okay? But you don't want to do that. You want to just pick something and go with it. Mine, I did like a Facebook Live over 5 foods that I eat every day, okay? Sweet potatoes, boiled eggs, avocados. I don't even remember what the other ones were. It was easy, but I tell you what, it fit into my brand, right? Fast, quick, easy, yummy. I like to eat, but at the same time, I like to be healthy kind of girl. Okay. So it fit with me and people liked that. They watched it. It was a live video. I was nervous as I could be. My phone was dying, but I did it and people liked it. Okay. Another thing, if you're funny, be funny. If you're like super strict and type A, be super strict and type A. You can pull in other people's personalities, but you want to be you. You don't want to be someone else because people will notice that, okay? Now, let's talk about this. Sharing other things that you love, not just Plexus. This is a place that I'll admit I need to improve. I think we get so hung up sharing on Plexus that we forget to share other valuable things with our audience, okay? So next time you go to a nice restaurant, talk about it. Next time you find a hair product that you love, talk about it. Next time that you get a great, like you go to Sam's Club or Costco or whatever and you find a great deal on something, post about it. Next time, you find a dog food that your dog loves, whatever it is, post about it and become the person that shares everything. Okay. You don't have to be that person up front. You can become that person. And then Plexus is even more just a natural part of your life. Okay. Oh, here's another good one. Next time you get family photos, get some headshots. Take a lot of different shirts. Okay. Have your photographer, as she's doing family photos, take a lot of different types of pictures, casual photos, everything else with your family, okay? Have her take several different sets of headshots with you. They don't have to have a pink drink. If you want them to, that's great. But you guys, that's great advertising for you. As you grow in your business, you are going to become more of a presence, right? You are going to want to become a little more professional. And so I like having those really good photos that come from my family photo sessions because then I've just got this whole store of photos. And on the days whenever I want to make a really impactful post or I don't have anything else to say, then I go and I grab one of those pictures and they inspire me and I can make a really great post about it. Okay. So if you go back and you look through, there's a lot of the same things being shared over the last 6 months since we got our family photos done in November. But at the same time, all of those are being shared. They're in different clothing, or they're just a different scene. Maybe some are individual, maybe some are with my family, but they're really great photos and they can make a lot of different types of posts. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Last thing, and then I'll let you guys ask some questions. I will say this, you guys, I didn't really understand this at first because I felt like I didn't have that much to offer. Like Plexus was the only thing that I had to offer. But as you grow in your business, you're going to realize that Plexus can be just the beginning for you, right? So as I've grown, this has opened more doors and more doors and more doors. And all of a sudden, my mind has opened up to a lot of other possibilities for me. I'm going right after convention. I'm going to another training to start an additional business, right? I'm going to keep working my Plexus business super hard, but this is just kind of leading me into other things. And so I want you to keep your mind open to that. And right now, start building your brand, because this may just be the beginning for you, right? This may be the thing that gives you access to something else. My friend Megan Moore is a great example of this. She is a sapphire. She's trying to go diamond right now. But you guys, her dream has always been to own her own salon. And she, thanks to Plexus and thanks to her sapphire income with Plexus, her salon is opening up this week that she bought on her own and built. Okay. So Plexus is awesome and it's amazing, but it's kind of what has led her to even her bigger dream, right? So don't limit yourself to this little thing, because this can open so many doors for you, and you want to keep working your Plexus business and you want to give it 100%, because there is nothing that can pay you and that can reward you like your Plexus business can. But remember, you are not only Plexus, right? You are all these other things. You have these other dreams. So let Plexus be the thing that takes you to those dreams, right? Or that you do alongside those dreams. Don't let it become the only thing. That's where you lose people. That's where you lose their attention and you lose their focus, is whenever Plexus becomes the only thing that you do. It's the only road that you're on, right? You don't want to do that. You have more than that in you. And this can be the thing that takes you to that. So let people see that. Okay. Does that make sense at all?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's all I have. Go ahead. What?
No, I said absolutely. That is such good stuff, Jenny. I knew you were going to give us some good stuff. I didn't think you were going to give us all those awesome examples. Good. But just what you just said gave me goosebumps about, let Plexus be the catalyst to really who you need to be. And I've mentioned this quote before and I always butcher it, but it's something like, to do what you're supposed to do or to be who you're supposed to be, you've got to just completely move away from, you've got to grow and move away from what you are right now. And it's so true. I just had, I have an instructor from college. I didn't go to college until later. I just actually graduated and got my bachelor's last year. And I was going to make a post about this here soon. I had an instructor there. I went to business school. My degree's in business management. And my instructor taught consumer psychology. And that was my favorite class because it was all about making you think. And when you see these like really touchy-feely, very emotional commercials that pull at your heartstrings and just, we talked about emotions involved with marketing and all that stuff. Of course, at the time I was doing this, actually it was the year before last I graduated. I had just started Plexus, so I really didn't put two and two together. But she's been a wholesale ambassador of mine for 2 years now. And she reached out to me last month, about 3 weeks ago. And she said, hey, I am doing a workshop on network marketing, and I would like you to come and talk about branding and how you share it and all that. And I was like, oh my gosh, I said, I would love that opportunity. So that is sometime in July, we're going to do that. But just the fact, because she's my Facebook friend and she's watched me, and she knows that I've went through trials and tribulations with it, and we always preach that to our teams. Don't compare yourself to other people out there, because there were people that started when I started that, shot up, they fast started gold, and here I am, emerald, a couple years later, and this person's still gold, But in the beginning, you compare yourself to people around you, and it's hard not to, but you really are on your own journey with this. And everything you said, learning how to be authentic and to watch your struggles, your journey, that's what people want to see. That's why I tell so many people on our team all the time, I'm like, don't wait for this miraculous before and after to think that that's going to shoot you to diamond, to have this before and after pic. People want to see you struggle along the way. They want to know how hard it is. They want to know, what you had to go through to get there. They want to cheer you on. They want to see. So I always say that to people. I'm like, they want to see your journey, and everything.
I think if you don't share that, if you just share like the great things, I think it just feels unattainable to people. They're like, oh gosh, she's already there. But if you share those struggles that you've had along the way and the things that haven't gone right, just as much as the things that have, then people can relate to it. Then they're like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe I can do this. It's not been all roses and perfect for her either. And I'll tell you guys a story. Actually, I want to tell you two really quick. So it's funny that you brought up comparison, because what you just said is something that I tell people all the time. So, I have a really, really good friend. She and I joined the same week. Okay. We are sidelines. She was senior ruby and I was silver 6 months in. Okay. And so I was watching her. I was like, oh my gosh, what is she doing that I'm not doing? She's fabulous. I'm terrible. What is going on? We're 6 months in. She's senior ruby. I'm silver. You guys, we went emerald on the same day. Isn't that crazy that we joined the same day, went emerald on the same day, but our journeys looked so different? And so now she's like skyrocketed to sapphire, will probably be diamond soon. And I am not close to sapphire, but it doesn't stress me out this time, because I'm like, you know what? It's totally fine. It's just that our journeys look different. And so thankfully we're friends and we can each share that with each other's teams and help each other. But I just think that's a really cool story about comparison. The other thing that I will tell you is, and I don't want to cry during this. Okay. So this will just tell you the power of social media, and what you share is really what people think. I have a really good friend, and we have a group text going on. It's literally 150 texts a day between 6 different girls. And this girl started posting in our group text all the time about like her Louis Vuitton purse and all this stuff, and like her, $1,000 shoes. And I mean, it was to the point after a couple weeks, I was getting really frustrated. Like, okay, there are people, friends of ours, mutual friends of ours in this group, like they can't even hardly pay their bills, and all you're concerned about is your Louis Vuitton purse. Like, are you crazy? Have you lost your mind? I really started thinking to myself, I even told my husband, I'm getting so frustrated with her. She has just got all this money and she's just, stopped caring about people and whatever. I was very, very frustrated. And she said something about her kid one day. And I messaged her privately on a different thread. And I said, hey, and I asked her about her child. And she ended up breaking down to me and telling me that basically her marriage is falling apart, that her and her husband are in therapy, that some things are going on with her kids health-wise, all these things. And here's what occurred to me. The reason that she had only been talking about her Louis Vuitton purse and her $1,000 shoes is because that's the only thing that brought her joy at the moment, right? That's the only thing that she could talk about and be even somewhat positive in that group message, okay? But she had so much going on that not a soul knew about. And so I want you guys to think about that. I was frustrated at her because all she shared was the perfect stuff and the good stuff, right? And looking back on that, I mean, I should have known better. Shame on me for not checking on her and being a better friend to her. But I want you to think about that in the terms of social media. There is power in sharing the vulnerable stuff. There is power in letting people know the struggle along the way and what's really going on, and just being real with people. That will get you much further than fake and perfection. I promise you. People will relate to you more. There was something else I was going to say, but now that got me like all crazy feeling.
I appreciate you sharing that.
Of course. So, any questions? I feel like I kind of jumped all over the place, but hopefully it made sense.
I thought it was great. Do you have any questions or anything you want to add, Jess? Are you good?
No, I just wish that my entire team was here to listen to this. I'm glad I'm recording it. No, it was really, really great information. And Steph had been sharing with us about the thought of branding yourself as a whole. So this really just tied into it perfectly. Thank you so much for everything. It was the whole half hour or so was just wonderful.
Good. I will tell you, I remember the other thing I was going to say is, you guys, this has all been a process. I've been doing this for 2.5 years, and I really have just figured all this out in the last maybe 6 to 8 months. And I will tell you, my sister-in-law came to me a couple of months back, and she said, "You've really changed." And I said, "I don't know what you're talking about." And she said, "No, you've really changed. Like, your posts are amazing. I can tell you've grown a lot." And I kind of thought she was just being crazy until everyone else started mentioning it to me. I've had so many people come to me and say, "Wow, like, you've really gotten better." And so I want to encourage you, like, if you are sitting there and you're saying, "Oh my gosh, I've been sharing all these graphics and I've been doing this wrong and I've been doing that wrong," do not let that stress you out, because you can change all of that. And if anything, that in itself has power, right? That in itself shows people that you are growing and that you are getting better. And that in itself empowers people, right? That in itself is part of not being perfect and getting better. And so I just, don't wait for someone to teach you. Don't wait for someone to direct you. This is something that you have to be in control of. You've got to grab onto it and say, "Okay, I'm going to get better at this. Here's what I want to look like. Here's the image that I want to portray. Here are the things that I want to focus on and that I want people to know about me." And then you've got to start getting better at it, right? You've got to start getting better at the words, or getting better at, if you're too wordy, you've got to get better at being shorter, or you've got to get better at taking pictures, or you've got to get more intentional with your time. Whatever it is, you've just got to make a decision that this is something that you're going to improve upon. And you can absolutely do that. There's nothing holding you back from that.
Good stuff. Jenny, we just had a question about hashtags. I know Bridget Ryan is like the hashtag queen. Do you use them all the time? And if you make a personal post, do you like to sprinkle Plexus in? Do you throw in Plexus hashtags in something like that?
Okay, I don't use Plexus hashtags, but I do use other hashtags. I'm not nearly as good at it as Bridget is, and I don't get nearly as much traffic from it. But if anything, I kind of use it for visual content, because I am the type of person that if I see just a blanket post and it's just like text and no emojis or no anything, then I have a tendency to scroll by it. And so I use them for the purpose they're intended for, right? So people can click on them, and if it's a post about one of my horses or something like that, then I'm gonna, make the hashtag like rodeo mom or baby barrel horse. We just had a baby born this week, and so that's one of the hashtags that I've been using. And I will use those for the perfect purpose they're intended for. But I also think people just like to read them because they're funny. And so sometimes I even make some that like don't really make sense, but people get a giggle out of them. And so I kind of use them for that more than anything, just to get a laugh. Or sometimes I think it makes people read your stuff harder. Like they're trying to figure out exactly what it says. And so they really pay attention. And so I think they're good for that purpose too.
Perfect. Do you guys have any more questions before we wrap it up? Thank all of you guys for jumping on. We're going to post this. This is Jess. I think we should post this on the team page. This is good stuff. Jenny, I cannot wait to see you in Vegas in a couple weeks. I'm going to give you a big old hug.
Yes,
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you for sharing that branding challenge so that anybody in Plexus could use it for their teams, because it has helped our team so much. It's been so eye-opening, and I know everybody's really loved it. So
I'm glad.
All right. Well, we'll wrap it up, and you guys all have a great night. And Jenny, we will see you soon.
Okay. Sounds good. Bye, y'all.
Good night.